Hey everybody, welcome back again, and today I'm taking a look at another figure that's actually been out for quite a while now. I'm going to categorize this as pretty much a second chance unboxing, and that's going to be 01 Studios 01S-03A, which is their version of a Masterpiece scaled scrapper. This is part of their Devastator set. One previous figure has come out that was their Tremor figure, which was a Masterpiece scaled long haul. So if you're familiar with these figures so far, you know that they're kind of a little bit of an oversized and very highly stylized version of Constructicon's, more of what I would imagine Cybertronian modes of the Constructicons would be. So the first figure was actually a pretty fantastic figure, very well made, I thought, very well painted, very well articulated. So we're going to take a look at this one and see if it falls into the same category there. So let's go ahead and get into the figure and see what we've got. So looking at the figure, it comes in a box that's very similar to what we got with the long haul version. So really nice kind of holographic boxing with really cool artwork on it. We can see a render of Scrapper here, or Catastrophe as they call it, on the front. The side of the box has an alt mode side view of the figure. The top of the box has part of the artwork of the overall Devastator combiner. I can only imagine this will be similar to how the Zeta Toys figures were, where you put all the boxes together and you get one big picture of the combiner. So, and then on the back we've got some product shots of him in bot mode, alt mode, and his combined mode as the right leg of Devastator. And then on the side, another shot of him in bot mode. Pretty big box. These are bigger figures, probably bigger than what my taste would be for. But again, the first figure in the set was, I thought, really, really good. It was very surprising to me, having never had an 01 Studio figure before. I don't even have their Unicron figure. So let's go ahead and get into him. So in the box we've got the figure himself, and then a small, pretty thin set of instructions with a picture of the Devastator combiner. And actually this picture really, even though these are individually stylized figures, the combiner that we have the picture of here, or the drawing at least, of Devastator, he really does have a faithful G1 look to him. So it's kind of cool how they did that. They were able to do these stylized figures in their individual bot modes and then in their alt modes, but the combined mode looks really good, I think. So this thing looks like it's going to be pretty huge once it's assembled. So let's get him out of his packaging and put that to the side. All right, so looking at his weapon, we've got a really nice weapon, actually very faithful to the original. Obviously some pops of color here, but this still has all of the visual cues that Scrapper's weapon would have had in the G1 cartoon. So very nice looking there. There's some red, obviously the silver on the muzzle of the barrel. So yeah, very good looking gun right there. And then we have the figure itself. So again, the figure is a gigantic figure, on par with their long haul version. So I know that maybe the bucket here kind of collapses in the back. But the figure, very, very, very nice looking. I really like the color palette. Even though these are stylized figures, the color palette is very faithful to the G1 toys, the G1 cartoon. So I do like that a lot. Like a lot of these translucent pieces on the figures. So let's take a look at his articulation. So on the head, we've got some up and down, a good bit of up and down, a little bit of side to side, so it does look like it's on a ball joint. Head is all the way around. At the shoulder, we have a little bit of a butterfly. It's kind of an accordion joint there, which is really nice. Goes all the way around on a friction joint, all the way up. So there's some nice movement there. At the elbow, we've got a really good elbow bend there. We have rotation at the bicep, at the hand as well, and then we've got for articulation of the fingers. All 4 fingers are individually articulated on, looks like 3 pins each. And then the thumb at the base looks to be like a ball joint. So really nice articulation there. I do like the proportions of this figure actually better than the long haul, and we'll take a look at the long haul in a minute just in comparison with this guy. But that guy has I believe the same molded hands on this, and the hands looked disproportionately small compared to the rest of the figure. That was my one complaint about that particular figure, was just the hands were too small in comparison with the forearms. At the waist, we've got a waist swivel. It is a ratcheted waist swivel. I don't believe that we have an ab crunch on this figure. Actually, we do. We have a little bit of an ab crunch. It is a pretty tight joint right there, but it is ratcheted, and you get, you know, a little bit of that crunch, if you can tell by the side. And I feel like I'm gonna break it. Hip skirts, we get some side hip skirts. We get individually articulated front skirts that are actually on they're almost double jointed here to get a little bit of more out of them. At the back, we've got 2 skirts, and I can show you here if you can see, we've got them kind of chain linked, so you get double bends out of those, which is really nice. And then at the legs, we get a good bit up, a good bit back, and we're actually on 2 bends right here, very similar to those Magic Square figures. So you get a little bit of extra out of that. And then at the hip, we get all the way up. We do get a swivel at the thigh. It's on a universal joint there, not all the way around. That looks like a little bit of die cast right there in this piece. At the knee, we get a nice double bend there. And then we also get an ankle tilt. We do actually get some toe up and a little bit of toe down. So yeah, overall the articulation here on this figure is really nice. And let's get the long haul figure back in here side by side with him. And for anybody that doesn't recall, this figure was pretty massive compared. I mean, I know that this Scrapper is big. It's I would say it's even larger than the Dreamstar Toys Scrapper that we've got, and certainly larger than the Fans Toys Scrapper, but I didn't realize until now, looking at these side by side, just how big this long haul figure was. And I can kind of point out here, so if you'll see, the long haul does have the same articulated hands that the Scrapper does. It looks like it's just a an exact copy of that, and the hands are a little bit small in comparison with his arms. So you can see that, you know, just from looking at these guys, this figure, the combiner, when it's overall done and we've gotten all the pieces of it, it's going to be pretty big. I would imagine probably as big or maybe even bigger than the Dreamstar Devastator that we just got completed here recently. So yeah, overall I think is a really cool looking figure. I really like it. Like I said, I like the color palette is a faithful callback to the G1 cartoon as well as the toys, but the bot itself obviously very stylized, but still has all of the cues that you would recognize this bot as Scrapper. So overall, really good figure. Really impressed with these. Not terribly crazy about how long it's taking them to get these figures out. I know that we've got renders of all the individual bots as well as the Devastator combined mode. But these figures, I think, probably came out at least a year apart from each other. This Scrapper's been out probably 7 or 8 months at this point. So I was able just to recently get him when they did a restock at Show Z and got him right before they sold out again. So really happy to get this figure. I'm going to try to get him transformed into alt mode, so stick around and we'll take a look at that as well. Thanks for watching. So here we have Catastrophe in his alt mode. As you can see, that was a little bit of a beast of a transformation. I looked at the instructions a little bit and really just tried to kind of fiddle my way through the transformation. So one thing I did notice during the transformation, one of his hip skirts actually came off and it broke a little piece of the plastic where it pegs in. So after that initial break off of the hip skirt and I kept putting it back in, that little piece of plastic is worn. So it's not a clean break of plastic, it's just a little bit of wear there, and that hip skirt just more easily came out of where it was pegged in. So that was a little bit frustrating, but not a huge deal breaker on the figure. You know, overall the alt mode looks really cool. Again, very stylized version of the alt mode, but you can still tell with the colors that we have here that this is supposed to be a Scrapper. So again, it's a huge alt mode, probably, you know, if I'm going by memory, a little bit bigger than the Fans Toys Scrapper. Doesn't look quite as big as the Dreamstar Scrapper, but I'll have to take a look and compare both of those. I think I still probably I had some mistransformations here at the end, so those panels fold down in the back. But overall, I mean, he's really good looking in alt mode. You get some articulation out of the bucket, so that is really cool. So yeah, he looks really good. Very pleased with it. you know, until these things are ready for combine mode, these will probably actually stay in an alt mode, just because of kind of the uniqueness of these, this earth mover, I guess you would call it. So overall, really happy with the figure. I'm going to try to take a look at it in combine mode. May include that in this video, may just include it in the short that I published. So again, I really enjoy creating these videos. I love doing these unboxings. I do them all in a single shot, so if I mess up, I mess up, especially in the initial unboxing. But if you like this content, please like, please subscribe. Coming up on 400 subscribers here pretty quick. I think I'm just 2 or 3 away. And if you keep liking and subscribing, I will keep creating this content. So again, thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. All right, here we have One Studio Scrapper in his combined mode. So we can see this is pretty big. You know, it's probably a good, I would say 10 inches tall from top to bottom. So let's look at the articulation that we get in it. So we do get a knee bend, and we do get some rotation at the knee. If I remember correctly, we've got some rotation at the bottom part of long haul where this will connect in. So overall, looks pretty good there. I haven't found ankle tilt yet, and some of this transformation here is really tricky in getting these pieces to stay pegged in. I honestly cannot find any ankle tilt yet. I think there is some here somewhere. Either I've got this mistransformed or I just haven't unlocked it yet. But yeah, I mean, this thing is pretty dang big. And I know that there's some ankle tilt here somewhere. I'm just gonna have to figure it out and maybe transform that off of screen. But yeah, I mean, pretty big. This is going to be a pretty humongous combiner, and from the renders so far that we have, it looks pretty good. So again, I thank everybody for watching, and stay tuned, and we'll keep doing these.